Live from Utah's Wasatch Front, the pulse of the Mountain West, where the issues that shape your life meet the truth that sets you free. Across Utah, across the Republic, and around the world, welcome. This is KMMU.
Hello? Can't hear you. Hello?
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yay.
Okay. I've just gone on for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. So you
Yeah.
probably hear me go through some more stuff again.
Sure. Yeah, I haven't heard anything yet. I bet you look like you had good things to say. So
I'm telling you, computers beat the dirt out of me.
I know.
Okay. There it is. All right. So I started off, I had like a moment of remembrance of Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
May he rest in peace.
yes, he was a formative part of my childhood.
Yes.
A very formative part. He, I don't know, there's just a lot about him that all of his movies, I was a little kid in the 80s when he was very prominent making his movies. So, big deal for me.
Yeah. I hope you didn't get too hurt trying to do all of his stuff.
We don't need to talk about that. Dad outlawed
It's a whole different thing.
karate movies in the house as a kid. For that reason. I was the
So
eldest.
my husband, what's that?
I was the oldest, so
Yeah.
there was a little bit of a sibling
Training you had to do. Yes.
But it made them tough. Both my brothers were very tough.
Perfect.
My sisters are kind of tough too. But so I had a moment about that. And then I read off what you sent me on email.
Okay.
So nobody heard it. So I'll go ahead and read it again.
Perfect.
Emily Syphus, our guest tonight, is passionate about making Tooele County the best place it can be for everyone who lives here. As a longtime resident, parent, and educator, she brings both experience and perspective to strengthening and supporting public schools. She holds a bachelor's degree in early childhood education and has taught in a variety of settings, in person, online, locally, and internationally. As a parent, she has experienced both the joys and frustrations of the education system, giving her an understanding of students' and families' needs. In addition to her work in education, Emily stays actively engaged in local government, serving as a delegate to both county and state Republican conventions. She is currently in her 4th year on the Tooele County School District Board of Education, where she is known for her thoughtful research, collaboration, and advocacy for students and families. Emily works closely with board members across the state to develop innovative solutions to challenges in education and has even presented to the Deseret News editorial board. She currently works as a substitute teacher and is always eager to listen, connect, and work with community members. All right. So, Emily.
Yes.
Before we start in with your pitch, why people need to vote for you, please break down for me what it is that a school board member does. What's their purview, their kind of, I don't know, where they sit. What do they do?
That is an excellent question because I think a lot of people actually don't understand that. So thank you for asking
everything. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's a great question. So in statute and in policy, the school board is responsible for the district, But most of the day-to-day operations, actually all of the day-to-day operations, are given to a district administration, who the superintendent and his staff, and the business administrator and his staff, and how they work together. And the school board is primarily responsible for budget and policy, as they are informed by the people that are in the offices every day, and also the hiring of the superintendent and the business administrator. Those are the main functions. As far as day to day, if someone were to say, oh, my child doesn't like this teacher, or, anything that happens, that's not what we do. We can help people advocate, and that's something when people reach out to me all the time, I help them navigate the situation. And so I never would say, oh, well, that's not my job, I'm not helping you. But we definitely help people navigate. But what we're trained to do, both nationally and with the Utah School Boards Association, the best practice is we don't get too in the weeds. We don't like go to a principal and say, oh, you should hire this person or what. That's not what we do. So it's a very high level, which is great because that leaves it up to the people that are experts and they're doing it day to day, to be able to make those little decisions. But also it's a little tricky because the decisions that we're making affect everyone. You've got policies, you've got budget, and we have to know what we're doing so we don't make mistakes. So there's a lot of things that we do to be informed and to constantly be a part of the conversation, so that hopefully when it comes to us to make those decisions of budget and policy, that that we can make the right call. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you want me to get into more the things that we do to stay informed, or that's enough of that.
Well, let's start out with, okay, this may go as me beating you about the head and shoulders for a minute.
I know there are problems. I absolutely, actually, can I say something?
Yes.
I don't know a person on the school board or in district administration that doesn't know there are a ton of problems. That's why I ran in the beginning. That's what we're after, is to try to solve problems. So if people want to talk to them, yeah, let's talk. Let's talk about them.
Okay. So the Shadow of the Temple High School.
Yes.
I think it's got a real name, but that's what I think it should have been called. And they could have been called the Saturday Morning Drowners as their mascot. God, it would have been awesome. But anyway, so Desert Peak High School.
Yes.
I have relatives that go to that school, everything else. And yes, we needed more schools, but how did the decision get made to kind of go as all out on that school on the premises as we did? Is that a decision that's made on the school board level? Is that a decision made somewhere else?
It's in tandem.
It feels like, when I look at it, it feels like I have, I'm one of those crazy people who hate paying taxes. And I
don't think any of us like to pay taxes. It's not a fun thing.
It feels like we're getting robbed most of the time, because let's face it, school structures are only utilized half the year, but you got to cover their cost permanently all the time. Every day you've got to cover the cost. And then you've got people that mow the lawns when no one's even there, and upkeep and all that. So it feels like the Deseret Peak High School was
excessive. That's what people say. Yeah.
Yes.
And I worried about it too. So there's a lot of things about that. And I love this question because it's actually one that I had also. So like I mentioned, I'm on my 4th year. So I actually was sworn in to the school board January 2023. So as you know, Deseret Peak High School was already under construction. The cake was already baked for that.
Okay.
So
beat you up over it, but is that
no? It's okay. Don't beat me. But
is that a decision that's made at the school board level, or is that a decision that's made maybe the state.
It's a group of people. So let me tell you, I'm looking at some more information. I'll tell you from my memory, but I can tell you exactly. And the reason why is because it's something that I have been very interested in too. So, as you're not on the school board, you have a lot of questions. And I'll say that I have been somebody who has always been actively involved with community council, with PTA, with substitute teaching, that I've always known who my school board representative was. And if I had questions, I've reached out. So before me, it was Camille Knudsen. And so if I had any questions, I would ask Camille and she would explain it to me. In addition, with the way that I knew that Deseret Peak High School was coming online, I've had a lot of questions exactly like you. We're in the same boat. And so because I've researched it so much, I do happen to know a lot of these answers. So I'll start in on it. So when they did the design process, it's a tandem thing. They'll put together a committee that, and I once again wasn't there, so I can't say it was this person, but it's going to be, there's the director of operations, there's a director of construction. And I will say the director of operations, he's about 5 years that he's been here. Director of construction, same thing. So they've learned a lot through this process. Like, representative from district administration, I don't know who it was, a couple of board members. It's never going to be more than 2 or 3 that are on a committee at once. Stakeholders, I know they came up with a bunch of ideas and they were presented in public open houses and surveys and things like that, and then get together with the architects. So as far as so that, it's kind of a group decision. And then eventually as it goes along, then there's like official approval for this and that and the other thing. I was there when they decided. I was one of the 2 board members who helped decide which builder would be chosen for Stansbury Junior. So I was there for that. So I can tell you exactly how that choosing a builder process worked. But anyway, so as far as the Deseret Peak goes, they ran the designs through lots of different things and cost considerations. And there were a couple of big problems. One of them is that the site, if you look at Deseret Peak, you're very familiar, that there's a heavy slope. Mm-hmm. So there were 2 choices. And the choice, which most people usually do, honestly, would be to level it before you build. And the other choice would be to design a school that was working with the slope. And when they did all the cost comparisons of moving all the dirt and stabilizing the dirt, because it's not just, pushing it around like my backyard, you have to stabilize it for engineering so that they can, so it can last and not sink. And anyway, so it was considerably more cost effective to build with the slope. So the way that it is at the front of the school is like 1 layer showing, and the back of the school looks like this 3-layer thing. And anyway, so that's the first savings, that they decided not to move all of that around. Second huge decision that was actually pretty controversial, and even though I wasn't there, I've heard so much about, they decided to not make it so that each teacher has their own classroom. Right now, they do, because it's not full yet. Next year, there's a senior class and it will grow and grow. But right now, there's like 950 kids in there, and max capacity is like 2,000 without portables, 2,200 stretch. Anyway, so it's not full. Teachers have their own classroom. But eventually, the way that the whole thing is set up is that teachers have their own office, but those classes change. And it could be something like, let's say that I teach math, and I teach a high level class that only 15 kids their senior year sign up for. And then I would go to a small class, and then maybe I also teach like freshman math, and that's going to, 37 kids. And so then there's a big classroom. And so then we have utilization of space that we don't have to worry about how many we put in. And then also the prep period. A typical high school is only like 75% to 80% maximum utilized at any given time, because of the teachers having a prep period and their classroom's just empty. And so the idea is that we can put more kids in that school, because the teachers that during their prep period, they're in their office and all of those classrooms are being used. So there was a 15% savings in square footage that they were able to have because they did it that way. And so right off the top, I mean, you probably know if you've ever tried to build anything that the cost per square foot is what'll get you, and that you take away 15%, and that's a huge savings.
I
I mean,
actually do like both those ideas.
yeah.
I do, and you guys should tout those more often. Maybe get a billboard made.
I know. You know,
Right.
actually, I've pushed for this, and there is a place, and I can like text it to you later. But we kind of pushed to have it online. If you do a tour with the architect, let's see. Oh, okay. This one that I'm looking at right now is just kind of like this is online, and it
Yeah.
tells you how each of those areas save money. So everywhere you turn, it's cost cut. Like we were one of the first high schools in Utah and really in the nation because VCBO, the architects that do it, they go all over the United States, and we did that tilt up construction. Did you see the tilt up?
I didn't, but that was that build the walls down and then stand them up, or
Yeah. So they built them off site, and then instead of taking months of masonry, you know, you're paying these guys by the hour to do the masonry, to do the bricks, but instead they had it just like all preformed. They came, and it was actually really cool that they took it and it went like, and just like in a couple weeks, like we had the whole thing. A lot of really innovative cost saving things, but the whole thing is a big optical illusion is what I've kind of learned. I mean, I can go off and off about cost savings and you get bored, but we can talk later, or I can send you links. I've talked to architects. I'll tell you that the amount of cost savings for like heating and energy efficiency and things like that is insane. The whole entire thing inside is mostly concrete. It really is impressive when you first walk in and you're like, oh, look how tall it is and it's lovely. But the more you're in it, you're like, it's actually pretty utilitarian. It's just all concrete. You can take a hose to that place. They're not going to have to replace tiles, and they're not going to have to replace any flooring besides, you know, like the gym and place like that. You can't just put a concrete floor. But other than that, mostly the entire place, the walls, the floors, concrete everywhere. Even in the front, there's some things that look really nice. Like you have this giant overhang. You're like, oh, that overhang looks so nice. Well, then you talk to them and they're like, actually, because that's where the sun is going to hit the most, and so it was going to make the building really energy inefficient to just have a flat front. So then they have that overhang, and that saves on HVAC costs big time. So anyways, you walk in the front and you're like, oh, look at this beautiful mosaic on the floor, and it looks so nice. It's just concrete. It's just they polish the concrete, and so it's more concrete. They found so many creative things to do with concrete, and so you know, I could keep going. There are a lot of cost savings and things that they did, but bottom line, without overtaking this entire thing, is to say I was concerned, like you, definitely concerned, but so many tours with different architects, different builders, is really shown me that actually it's really cost savings. And they actually won an award for energy efficiency and innovative design in packing more kids into smaller square footage. There's no other high school in Utah that's fitting 2,200 square feet, and not 2,200 square feet, 2,200 children, and having that little square footage. I hope that we love it. I hope that it serves us well. VCBO won an award. It is funny. We went to the School Boards Association, and we're taking all this heat from our community about how it looks, and then we go to VCBO has a booth, and it's like, well, this is the award we won for energy efficiency and cost savings, and we saved so much money on this building. Everybody should save this much money. And all these school board members from around the state are coming up to us like, well, can we come out and look at your school? Like, we want to build a school, but we don't have a lot of money, so we need to see how you're saving money. So it's really interesting. I mean, there's things like the eagle on the side people have criticized. That's just part of the lighting package. if the eagle wasn't there, something else would be there that that's LED lighting, same thing. It didn't cost that much in the grand scheme. Saved a lot of money by putting the football field up against the high school instead of, like at all of our district schools.
Parking lot in between.
Yeah. But by having them a shared wall, you've saved money on building that entire wall. And you saved money with electrical and plumbing, anything else you need, because it's just coming from those team. It's kind of like if you were going to put a bathroom in your basement and you just wanted it in a random corner, it's going to cost you so much money. But if you put it like right underneath your kitchen sink, it's going to be cheap. So saved a lot of money with that. So
have you guys thought about putting together well, one, I think you guys need to come on more public public shows and just say, look, this is what it is and what it does. And then I would try to throw together a couple of tours with, and granted, parents might figure it out. The students will learn about it, but then as soon as they graduate, it's going to fly off and forget all of that trauma. But
we're all trying.
Yeah, but I think you should try to put together some tours.
Yeah. And we did a lot of, so, and it's hard, and I'm really open to suggestions that you have, because this is something I've toyed with. So I'll tell you what we did, and then you can tell me what you think needs to happen additionally. Is we took our legislators, we took different employees for the district at various times. It was hard when it was under construction because you have to have permission. You
don't want to take people on a tour when it's under construction.
Right. But we did. Yeah, I did. I mean, probably I went through it 3 times while it was under construction, and we do things like we invited Representative Bolander, and it was Tim Jimenez and then Representative Peck. We invited Scott Sandel and Dan Thatcher, but they were never able to make it out to any of those. And then when it was actually done, we had preview tours. We had like local leaders, like all city councils, mayors, Chamber of Commerce, the paper, lots of those people. We had several different tours for that. And then we also had the public open houses. Oh, we had a preview for the district employees. So we had one night that was, you can only come if you're a district employee. And then sorry, I should have brought water. And then we had a couple of nights where it's just everyone in the public. We tried to be there, tried to answer questions. I mean, this link that I was showing you was the signage that we put up to try to explain. But I think, and that was on the website. I pushed for that to be on the website because I kept on saying, we got to let people know what are the cost savings, what are the cost savings, what are the cost savings. But yeah. What else do you suggest? I would love to know, because we should solve together.
I think right now there's a perception that it was this big expense. And if you need to go grab water, go ahead and go grab it.
No, I'm good. I just got a pencil and paper so I can write down what you're telling me.
I think, like right now, I think a way to get the advertising out would be ideal. I know Tooele has or had, I don't know if Manzione's going to continue it, but the mayor's minute or whatever in the newsletter. I don't know if Grantsville has something like that,
and they have a new mayor too. So
yes, they do. Hammond.
Heidi Hammond, yeah.
So it'd be good to definitely get them on board. And you are pulling students from all areas. You're getting some Stansbury Park kids, Grantsville kids, and Tooele kids. Yep. And so get all the mayors involved. I don't know. Maybe a simple, easy way to do it would be to go down there with your own phone and do a walkthrough, and just show it. Just you go live, or you can invite someone down or invite people influencers, I think is the modern phrase for that, down to
Yeah.
talk about it, just to get the information out. A lot of people, because you go into Home Depot and you look across the way and there's this huge building there that's,
Yeah.
you know, has an appearance that it's super fancy and everything else, but to lay out the numbers, you know, it might be something correct. And I didn't know it held 2,200
Yes.
students.
It's bigger than any of the other ones. And it was interesting because you can only bond for how much you can afford. And then there's also rules about we didn't reach our max bond amount, so technically we could have bonded for a little more, but 2019 bond didn't pass, so they tried again in 2020 with a lesser amount. And so they're like, well, we only have this much money. But then they thought, well, if we have this amount of money, we're expecting this high school. Well, what if we do some cost savings and instead make it so it's still this much money high school, but this much more kids can fit in high school?
Mhm.
So you look at, all that growth that's happening out there, and it's, we've got this huge report about all the growth that's happening throughout the county, and there's a lot of housing that's been approved, and we all see, like you said, in that area, like around Home Depot and the temple, so much going in, and it could really be scary, except that high school is not going to be full for a while.
Well, that's good. I had heard it was already full, but
No,
here it's not is really good to hear. And talking to my nephew who goes there, he had the negative thing he said about it is there are no girls.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I have a cute neighbor girl who goes there, but she's only a sophomore, so maybe they're not the same age.
well, he's a junior.
Yeah.
But there's some benefits to him going there, definitely, and he seems to enjoy it. And he plays a couple of sports for him, and really does that. Part of the reason he went up there is it enabled him to really shine athletically.
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I went to a function of Deseret Peaks not long ago, and I was just like, I love how there are kids that in our previous system where they're packed in these 2,500 capacity high schools. I mean, the capacity is not 2,500. Like Stansbury High and Tooele High have a capacity ideally of 1,650 and stretch capacity of 1,850. And Tooele High was around 2,000. Stansbury High almost 2,500. And so in that situation, kids aren't getting these opportunities. And I was at Desert Peak and I was like, I love that there's kids that are going to say, this was my high school experience and this is what I got to do that wouldn't have been available to them otherwise. And it's not going to last forever. Unfortunately, we are going to fill up as a county, but
I imagine in 10 years, we're going to probably be entertaining building another school.
Well, and that would be in Grantsville.
Yeah.
Grantsville.
Well, it depends on what it looks like when Tooele and Erda merge.
You think Tooele and Erda are going to merge?
Oh, 100%. They're already cutting a pathway there on the north side of that car lot.
You mean like as in infrastructure, you'll be able to drive there, or you think their cities will
I think there's just going to be houses.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
well,
yeah.
No,
I thought you meant their cities were dissolved and combined. I'm like,
subdivisions.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. And it's interesting because I've lived here almost 20 years, and to see the amount of change is just unreal. And I can understand people who've lived here for generations that aren't really happy about all of the changes. I get it. It's changing everything. But at the same time, with our proximity to Salt Lake and with the laws that there are with landowner rights, it's gonna grow, and we're the next thing. And so what can we do? We can make sure that happens responsibly and it's well planned, and that we're not letting it catch us by surprise.
I think it's It's inevitable.
Yeah.
The growth is inevitable. Well, okay, the growth isn't inevitable because I don't know if you probably know where you're in education. You know, we're at a demographic collapse nationally.
Yeah, see, there's that. Yeah. Well,
We're in a weird place where there's going to be a
yeah.
moment in the next couple decades where there's going to be a growth overlap without people to replace it. Japan went through it.
Yep.
And we're going to see a lot of the same thing where a kid in a family is going to inherit 7 homes and can't offload them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen with the current trends in Utah. I don't know about households decreasing because so many people have been moving to Utah. I mean, we can guess whatever the reason, but statistically they have been.
Well,
so I think what you're talking about,
why they're leaving.
Yeah.
The same reason local left. They're like, this is ridiculous. Why are we staying? Why are we maintaining in California?
Right.
When they're taxing us too high and the quality of life is not meeting expectations. And quite honestly, I don't think I need to step over homeless poo on my way into the office. No. And so California is emptying. Couple other places, Massachusetts is emptying. New York is emptying. And that's because, look, I'm not a Republican, but the Republicans' mindset on incentives for business is much more cohesive with a society that functions than the Democrats is at this current time.
Yeah. I like how you qualify that. I mean, really what we can do as a school district is look at, let me show you this. You might be interested. There's a whole huge work session. So, giant book that we want to make sure and be prepared and have a plan for exactly all of the things that you're talking about. And so we had a company go through and look at the trends, like what property is there that they've already given permits to develop, and how long is projected for it to develop, and how many households will come in, where those will be, so where would project that we might need a school in the future. Conditions of the building. This thing is crazy. Yeah, I can go through and just be like, well, do you want to know what the HVAC is like at North Lake Elementary? Anyway, it's so all done, but it's been interesting. So we do have this, and it shows us what we can expect in the next 10, 15, 20 years. But what you're saying is absolutely right, that things haven't been always as predicted because, as you know, the birth rate has gone down, not as much in Utah, but in Utah still, I read like 36% since COVID.
Well,
that birth
Utah,
rate has gone down.
I think Utah is at what is it? Either 2 flat or 2.1%, which is still
below replacement for a population. Yeah, and so we're seeing that the kindergarten classes are actually, this last year they shrunk, whereas we're getting, we're expecting this massive influx of growth, and yes, there's more households in the county, so that's something that our county and city officials really have to worry about. But as far as the education goes, it can pick up any time now, but we've gotten about 170 new kids district-wide the last couple of years, district-wide, and most of those are in secondary. That's the 7 through 12, and so we're not being pushed out of usability of these schools in most areas as fast as we thought. So that's helpful.
It's kind of, there's this social psychologist that I listen to once in a while, and he studies trends through history, and he was looking at other societies who had population collapses, and he was comparing it. The reason I was listening to it because I was on a tirade about whatever, but
hey, sometimes you have to just learn stuff when you want to be upset, and you just
well, he was talking about, he's like, right now our education system, since the Department of Education started in 79, has every year has gotten more expensive and delivered less. And he says, you would think that our national report card goes down every year. And every year, the price of educating kids. And he says, so you think this population collapse is going to cure that? And he says, historically speaking, it does not. He said, the education of the youth will become more bureaucratic and more expensive, and they will build glass bubbles around every child. And I was like, that's an interesting thought. And he says, you can see it historically when Rome went through their issue of population collapse. That's exactly how they did it. He said, we're going to follow that pattern. He said, we have been in this demographic collapse for, 5 years now. And all of the cost of education has accelerated since then. So it's just an interesting thought, something to take away from.
Yeah, I'm not as, I know I follow a lot of national education journals, but it's more of, what would be best practices for this or that or the other thing. I'm really well informed about
in the paddle for best aerodynamics when you
exactly. That's one of the top articles. But just for what the financing is in Utah, so as far as finance, I know a lot about Utah and I know a lot about Tooele County School District, but I don't know as much about the nitty gritty of the finances around the country. So I'm, anything you want to know about Utah or Tooele County School District, I can discuss it, and if I don't know, I can find the answers. But I'm really, really determined to make sure that we do everything informed, that not just by a whim, not just to say, well, I have this opinion, you have this opinion, let's fight about opinions, that we need to look and say, no, what is most effective? And how do we know that it's effective? What proof do we have that it would work if we were to try it? Or what proof do we have that this, that's kind of how I like to approach things. So like I said, any topic, if I haven't looked into it, I would be excited to dig into it. I'm actually kind of nerdy that way. It's my shameful secret. I'm data nerd.
Hey, yeah. I should have had this show later. We could forego the sleeping pill tonight. But no, well, I already beat you around the head and shoulders about the new school, and I feel quite better about it.
No, you didn't. No, you asked a question. As a citizen of Tooele County, everyone deserves to know how their tax money is being spent, and that's a fair question. I'm glad you asked.
So we've got that out of the way. I had one more question, and then pretty much what I want is I want your spiel, your spiel for candidacy, and why you want to run. And I want to tell everyone, Holly's not here tonight. She's at a meet the candidate night because she is running for a House seat
29. Yeah.
Yep. So she is off and at a meet the candidate. So she's shaking babies and kissing hands.
Yeah.
So so it says in your bio you sent me that you substitute teach. Do you do that out here?
Yep. So the reason why I'm allowed to do that is sorry.
How scared is the principal when you come walking in to teach in this school?
So I hope not at all scared. So here's the thing. I was doing it before I ever filed to run for school board in the first place. And so I have 6 children, and my oldest is almost 20. He graduated 2 years ago. And so, I guess that would put me 15 years with kids in school, plus all the PTA work I've done and the community council work I've done. A lot of people know me from all of those things. And then I started substitute teaching. So people knew me as it's just Emily Syphus, right? It's not any type of thing. And so most of the people I sub for these days are people that I've known for a really long time, and it's not whatever. I'm willing. I definitely have tried because I like to see what's going on in the schools, not as a spy thing, like I'm going to catch you in the act, but in a I want to know what it's really like for the teachers and really like for the students in all these schools. So I have tried to sub around the entire district, and I've gotten to most of the schools, and so they won't know me. In the beginning, here's the thing. People don't pay a lot of attention to who's on the school board.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, they don't. So I can go in and, like I said, not trying to be undercover boss, but also I don't wear like a sandwich board that says like, I'm on the Board of Education. Please talk to me about this. I just go in there and I do my job as a substitute, that I want to make sure that those kids are safe and cared for and taught to the very best of my ability. And that's my job. And anything that I happen to notice in the meantime, that's just helpful. But I think that it makes a lot of teachers and principals feel comfortable to tell me things that are going wrong. And so that's actually good.
You get to find out if there's a morale issue brewing.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and so
important. And you get to test the margarita machine in the faculty lounge.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be quite the situation? I'll tell you though, if you want to help out a school, so I've done so many times with PTA, is around parent-teacher conference or around time when it's going to be stressful, you stock the fridge with every beverage, and that is what they want.
So is there a subject that you specialize in when you substitute?
So my degree is in early childhood education. And also I had a minor in teaching English to speakers of other languages. So those are my specialties. But also when I was teaching full-time as a full-time public school teacher, I was the math coordinator at my school. So math is a big passion of mine. I end up teaching a lot of kindergarten because there aren't a lot of people that want to do it. And people know that I'll do it. So I guess I'm a sucker. But I have
kindergarten hard to teach. I've often wondered, because I think for me, I think like first through third grade, I think I could function perfectly well. Teenagers,
it's herding cats, those little kids.
I would rather jump into a mulching machine than to teach a teenager.
Well, yeah, but they can be so great. And so since it's substitute,
but they're not.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about being the sub. But it's been interesting because you hear things about different schools and about this and that, and they'll have rivalries in the district. But I've been treated so respectfully by high school students all around the district. And I know that teachers have problems with kids being really punks, and it's just really difficult. I haven't personally been in that. I've been in classrooms where kindergarten kids are running away and throwing things at their peers and any manner of disruptions. The teenagers, I just kind of come in there and say, like, whatever it is, the discipline thing, I'm not afraid to do it. So just don't mess. And it turns out okay.
When I was in high school in Grantsville, they had a teacher named Terrell Hunsaker.
Uh-huh.
And he won Teacher of the Year a few times.
Oh, sweet.
I think statewide, maybe even nationally.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also the enforcer.
Yeah. He
wasn't a great big guy, but I don't need to go into explanatives, but he would throw stuff at you and he would put you, he would get physical, but he never taught girls. So maybe that's why he could.
Yeah. At different times.
My stepmom, I mean, this was the 90s, it was modern. I mean, he was outside of his purview then, but my stepmom was infuriated. Well, first of all, freshman year, my dad walks me in there, and my dad was his favorite student ever. And my dad says, "This is my boy Jared. If he gets out of line, kick his ass."
Wow!
Took it to heart, and I was always close with Hunsaker all the time. He and I
Yeah.
got called to jury duty all the time after I got back from the Army. But we were always at jury duty together for some reason, just matched up. But that's how he was. But my stepmom, rather modern and progressive city lady that my hillbilly dad married, she come out and asked why he doesn't allow girls in his class. And he says, it's a welding class. And he says,
I was going to say.
They're working with heavy equipment,
right,
dangerous stuff. And he says, I am not going to put a female out there to take their focus off. They will get hurt.
Okay.
And she says, well, what if my daughter wants to take welding? He says, you put a welding class together of all girls and I will host it. But I'm not going to mix them. And he stuck by it. And no one argued with him. Just how it was. And if there was any problem in the school, they would call his office and he would come down and sort it out.
So is welding like a legacy thing at Grantsville High then? Because I've been through the welding, lab. I don't you can call it workshop. That's what it is. At Grantsville High, and they're doing some really awesome things out there. Still, really impressed with the kids and the things that they're building. Not just do this project because teacher said so. They're thinking of things they really need at their homes and things that they need at the schools. They're doing things for the city. I'm very impressed with what they're doing at Grantsville High.
Well, if you go to any of the canyons around the county, all of the park benches was built in Grantsville High School by the students.
Awesome. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, I think it goes to that agricultural thing. You should have been there in the 90s.
So I'm from Preston, Idaho. I was living agriculture in the 90s.
Okay, well, the animal science class taught by Jerry Hurst. We used to slaughter and process animals in school.
I believe it.
In school, we do it. Farmers would bring their livestock down. We would.
I am not shocked.
Castrate dogs, sheep, and pigs. And we would slaughter pigs, sheep, and cows.
Yeah.
And I learned to process animals there.
Real world, baby. Yeah, we so I went to high school in Idaho, and it was interesting that when we moved out here, so my husband got a job that is in Salt Lake. And so we had to move somewhere around, but it was just so different from where I went to high school. And we ended up out here, and I was like, Grantsville is like Preston. Not anymore. Grantsville's getting bigger. Preston's really not so much. But, like 20 years ago, I was like, all right, Grantsville is Preston, so I can feel at home, so we can live here.
Yeah. I think my uncle was the mayor of Preston in the 80s.
Oh, in the 80s. Okay. Yeah. But what's his name?
What is their last name?
Okay. You can tell me later.
I got to remember what their last name is. It's my aunt's husband.
Oh, okay.
But I think he was the mayor of Preston.
Sweet.
Well, there quite a few times, his name was Gene something. Forget his last name. Anyways. But, either Preston or I think it was Preston. But anyways, Preston's a small town. Growing up that Napoleon Dynamite life.
Yeah, it's totally. And I was going to mention that, but I didn't know if you would have what? Napoleon Dynamite? Yeah. So there's a scene in there where they shoot the cow in front of the school bus. That scene is in there because that literally happened. So the writer-director of that is my good friend. And they had been raising a cow as one does. Everybody raises a cow or two every now and then or whatever. Yeah. You got to do your FFA or your what's the other word? 4-H. 4-H.
4-H.
Big
4-H isn't as big here in Utah. I'm not sure.
It was huge in Preston, Idaho.
It is.
It was so big, and like the 4-H things, kids would make tons of money raising their livestock. But anyway, so they had the cow, and his mom had arranged for the cow to get slaughtered, and so the guy came out to do it at the same time as the kids were at the bus stop, and he didn't wait till the bus drove away. Literally, he just shot the cow in front of the kids.
Oh,
It's real. It's not something they made up.
yeah, I experienced that young because my grandpa raised pigs all the time. But
Yeah.
I remember freshman year in that animal science class, and where some girl shows up in some white jeans, and
Ooh,
and
that's your first mistake.
we get to now. What it was is you volunteered to be on the floor, and no girls volunteered to be on the floor with
Okay.
the animals. They sat on bleachers and gossiped, supposed to be watching and learning, but no.
Yeah.
You got 10 girls together. They just stared at each other and talked about something. I'm sure it was
All the high school things that are so
shaking.
important.
Yeah. But it was boys that volunteered. And how we do it is we'd lasso the back leg of the pig and then raise it up on a hoist and dispatch it at the throat. Well, this pig started kicking. And so it's got a tornado of blood as it's spinning around.
Oh no.
And it laid about 2 passes of that on that girl's white pants. And after that, Mr. Hurst had everyone but us boys that were willing to do it step outside while we did that.
I'm gonna submit that for if they ever get into pulling a dynamite too.
Oh yeah, it was, it was an interesting thing out there.
I mean, it's just life. It's the way that things are. I mean, anyway, I've gone off track, but a lot of reality in that movie.
I like going off track, and Grantsville was good for that. I also had the privilege of going to Tooele High School where they had an auto mechanic shop, and I thought that was good. We got to rebuild a carburetor in that one.
Real life skills. Love it.
But anyway, so let's give us your spiel on why everyone needs to vote for you.
Why everyone needs to vote for me. Okay, well, I'll tell you that I have been involved in education in some capacity for a very long time. Since I was in college, I've been teaching something. That not only that, but I've tried to be very aware and politically active. First thing I got to Tooele County, I subscribed to the newspaper. Just read it all. Okay, what's going on with the county? What's going on with the cities? All kinds of things like that. Let's always stay informed. I try really hard to listen to all sides to make sure that we're not making decisions on emotion, that we're making decisions based upon conclusions of what we've seen work either here or other places, what the data shows us. That I'm very curious, I'm very hardworking, I am very honest to the point that maybe sometimes I say too much, but I am always going to make what I believe is the most ethical decision possible. It will never be, I would make a decision that is bad for my family personally if it was the best decision for the district as a whole. That I've been working really hard to make relationships around the state. That I'm on a thing called Innovations Committee, and it's not just so like anyone can join. It's people started seeing each other at statewide board things, and we said, hey, let's get together and make sure we're not going to do things like exactly like other districts, but don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can have ideas. And then also we thought we have all of this tension during the legislative session about this bill is good or this bill is bad. Well, what about instead of waiting till we get to that point, we invite legislators in to talk to us, and we can tell them what are our struggles, and they can tell us the things that they're hearing, and we can work on some solutions before it gets so far down the field that we're like, hey, don't you ever listen to us? Well, how about we start talking before the bills even start getting written? So I've been involved in that, and a group of us were even invited, like, you can present to the Deseret News editorial board. We're looking for any opportunity that we can do to try to solve problems as a community. Who has a good idea? I don't care if it's you. I mean, I'm writing down things you're saying. I don't care if it's somebody in public comment or someone in my email or my neighbor or somebody that lives entirely across the county. let's get together and think of these good ideas. So I'm very collaborative, trying to look all around at the resources that we have, advocated for people, always looking at what's going on. I can go more off on all the different things that I do to stay aware. But yeah, with me, you get a candidate who is well informed, constantly striving to be better, honest, ethical, curious. And there are a lot of things that are problems in this school district. Absolutely. Like I started out by saying, I don't know anyone who doesn't think there are problems. So let's solve them. My priorities, I'll tell you, obviously, first thing, absolutely need to figure out how we're going to be solvent given the problem, like financially, given the problems that we've had. I stumbled into those. They already existed before I was elected, but nobody knew it. And that's been a big problem. But you're faced with a problem and you can just say, well, that's it. Like, I'm out. I'm moving. I'm fill in the blank of what you're going to do. That's all, whatever. But for me, I say, okay, well, that's the hand we've dealt. Can't reverse it. Let's try and solve it. And there's my website. Yeah, I need to update that thing. Look at my kids looking small. But anyway, so yeah, financial solvents, communications is a big one that I want to try and solve. Obviously, we have to look at things. Student achievement is huge. Okay, there's me when I was very young. Anyway, so if you have any other questions about my priorities and how I would actually accomplish those things or what we're already doing to accomplish those things, I am absolutely willing to discuss. There is no topic that will offend me because I feel like I probably had most of the same questions that you have. And
it is tough. The school board, I think, is getting pushed to the front. And for the longest time, the school board was able to exist in the background and just kind of do its thing in the background, where now it is in the front and center. And for anyone who wants to go check out our website, it's emily4tooeleschools.com. That's Emily for spelled out for tooeleschools.com, and I will throw that in the show notes and everything else.
Thank you so much. You know what I was thinking today? I should have put the number 4, but I was being so literal when I did that.
It's fine, However you do it,
you do it. It's okay. But yeah. And you know what? I actually think it's a good thing when more people are informed, because obviously there's been a lot of mistakes made in the past. But what I just say is ask me about them. Come to me, talk to me. If somebody shoots me an email, there's a lot of times when I'm able to link them to places to find information. But if it's a big conversation, I'll just drop my phone number and just say, let's chat. I've talked with people on the phone. I've met people in parks. I'm willing to do cottage meetings in homes. We all have the same desire, I think, that we want to live in a great community. We know that education is crucial infrastructure, but we also have to pay the bills. We have a lot of things we're all trying to pay for. So we need to use the money as efficiently as possible. And so that's something I've been borderline obsessed with.
Well, also, as we're making less kids, like I mentioned before, they become more valuable. It's not like, aside from you, what do you got? 17 kids, 15? I think
I have 6. So, it's funny because coming from Preston, Idaho,
kids that requires a square root.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't feel like a lot in Preston, Idaho, but in 2026, it's a lot of kids. And so that's why I've had a lot of experience. I have kids that have been very high achieving. I have kids that are on 504s. That's the accommodations.
That was this guy right here.
Yeah.
I actually went to school in Grace for a year as well.
Oh, so I know that very well.
It was a grizzly up there. When you have the population sign, our numbers hung on hooks, you're in a small town.
Yeah, you do. But I know Grace well. But yeah, so I've been really through the gamut of what the school system throws at you from behind and from in front. And then also as a taxpayer, I've been and still am how are we going to make all of the money work? How are we going to do this? Can we afford to put our kid in this? Can we afford to even own a TV? I mean, there's a time we own a TV now, but there were a couple years where we just didn't even own a TV and we listened to the radio, literally football games on the radio like it was the 50s. So we've been through all of these situations. Well, not all. I mean, I can't claim to have lived everyone's life. That would be preposterous. But I'm just to say that I do worry about these things for my own family and for my neighbors and my neighbors across Tooele County. So like I said, a little borderline obsession with how we can be the most efficient we can be. So
that's a good answer. Again, yeah, I don't want to barrage you with a whole bunch of questions. I think
I'm willing to answer them, but I know we've been here for a while, so I don't know how long your podcast is.
Yeah, well, we can round it out here and let you go. And then I would say, as far as where the money's going, I think doing a video tour of what you're looking at, because
yeah.
So as children become fewer and fewer, they're going to become more precious to the parents and the community.
That's a good point.
People are, and that's why school districts are going to become more expensive and they're going to become more bureaucratic. You think we're bureaucratic now? Wait to see it in 30 years. It's going to be insane. Unless we have a mindset shift between now and then. And I don't see that coming down the pike.
Well, there's always pendulum swings, though. So, we can look at it. It's so easy with all the things that are going on in the world these days to feel really pessimistic. And I can start to be very, very frustrated.
It's not a pessimistic feeling.
Yeah, no, but
look at it as it just is.
Hoping that people are learning lessons from all of the hard things we're going through that'll kind of swing the pendulum to a better place.
Well, first you've got to either teach us to live with the internet or uninvent it. And
yeah, this is a good point. What are you going to do?
Right now, well, you said you got a son that's 20.
Yeah.
How's him and his peers' dating life?
Yeah, that's such a good point. And there's the dating, and everyone complains about the apps, but they're not hanging out in real life. It's really interesting. And then also there's something that the kids that age are really concerned about is, will my chosen career path be taken over by AI?
Well, they should be afraid of that.
Yeah. So they're like, well, so if I get into this, am I going to have a job in 20 years?
It's
hard.
If you decipher information, you've chosen the wrong career.
Smart. Yeah. I mean, because
if you get calloused hands, you're probably still going to be all right for a while.
Absolutely. I have a thing, I don't know, that somebody made. It's like all the sectors that you could be employed in. And then it said, this is how many things that AI is taking up. And it's like this little thing in the future. I mean, in the present, a little red. And then these are the things that theoretically AI is going to do. And it takes up most of it. And it's exactly what you're saying, that if you're welding or all these other kinds of
robots
things.
do a lot of welding. It's going to be in-field processing. If right now, if I had a young child, I would be, you're going to go become an electrician or a plumber.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we need to reintroduce to schools. We need to bring more more of that back in.
And I think that
Way
the
under
state's doing pretty well with that.
They are, but that faded away a lot. It seems like the federal government defunded that a lot in between 2012 and 2016. Defunded a lot of that, and some of it has been brought back. But I think the schools need to get ahead of that wave, where different mechanics are brought in. And the TATC helps, or TTC helps, because a lot of our students get to do extracurriculars down there and become diesel mechanics, and
they can go for free as long as they're in high school.
Yep.
Tooele Tech is free as long as they're in high school.
That's outstanding, and they can go and apply that. So they need. I would suggest they all take advantage of that. I think our schools, if our schools really want to help, they should start figuring out apprentice programs for the different electrical and plumbing companies. Figure out how to get in with them, because electrical you have to be sponsored in. Maybe get with the welders union just around the point of the mountain and figure out what can we do to start our students to where they can do some, sweep the floors for them, so that after they graduate, they have a place to walk into. Because if you're going to school to be a paralegal, that's going to be one of the first ones gone.
I mean, this is what the thing looks like. It shows you. Over here you've got like production, installation, repair, construction, agriculture, personal care, ground maintenance. Anyway, it went off. But so those are all of the things. Protective services, food and servicing. These are the things that AI is not taking over.
Well, protective. Those are hands-on things. Law enforcement,
Yeah.
I think
you're right.
And those are all just things. That's just kind of what our future holds. We're on a new industrial revolution. Everything's going to change and mold and change with it. And if you can, one thing AI cannot do is cannot get to the field and diagnose hands-on things. So just think about that. You really want to get into a good career, that there's a dolge of openings. Make poop leave people's house. If you figure that, if you keep on top of that, that's one thing AI will never be able to figure out until they make robots, and then it's Wall-E time, and none of it matters. But we're in an interesting time. We're in a modern day industrial revolution, and humanity's gone through this lots of times before, and they come out the other side okay. Some people get skin knees on the way, but hopefully the youth of today can look around and get a head start.
I 100% agree. It's really interesting that this state, have you heard of catalyst centers? They put a lot of money into that last year. And so their whole point is that the schools are supposed to be looking at what their actual community needs. So we've been talking on more of a macro level, you and I, about kind of how everything's going, but they would like for you, or you as in the school districts, for us to look into what do our actual communities need? What are the specialized certifications that are going to get kids money right when they leave? And a lot of the things that you're talking about, those kinds of careers, and then make that bridge to make sure that those people, so that we have a pipeline of kids that are graduating from high school with skills that are immediately applicable in the community. And so that's the intent of that money. So I'm hoping that in Tooele County School District that we can make some great inroads into becoming a part of that, and something that our students can do. I mean, with those types of classes, there's a whole lot to that. But anyway, it's kind of
excellent. Exciting. Yeah. Look to see what's coming in with this inland port. if we can
Yeah.
get an idea on what businesses are starting there, that'd aid you in making
Yes.
adjustments in the schools
Yes.
and focusing in. And it'd be,
Like-
the TATC is an asset to the county. I hope that it's
Yeah.
being utilized by as many people out there.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely an asset to get especially the young kids who, give them a chance to explode into the community, ready to be an asset to the community, ready to grow and hopefully make little people and, keep doing all that.
That they support and are able to be active in the community. But I really like that idea that you just said, that if we knew more about what was going to be in the port, then we could say when they open, "Welcome to Tooele County. Look at these people who are ready to work for you."
Yeah. Well, and I hope that those people in the state that are planning the inland port are going to come out to the school and say, we're trying to get a couple companies out here,
Mhm.
and here's the companies. What can you do to aid us in selling Tooele County, to selling the industrial depot, to selling the Romney area, to sell them to more people? What can we do? What can we tout? We can tout TATC or TTC. We can tout, Grantsville High School has a history in welding, and that's a big thing. And Tooele High School has a history in teaching kids how to knife fight during recess. And
Oh no.
tea with a pinky out. All these things, they can really sell it.
Yeah. I really like that idea of the pipeline. And really, when we talk about these big businesses coming in, you get something like a Ross opening. That's helpful to the tax base, but not nearly as helpful as our big taxpayers that, like our Walmart distribution and Cargill and those types of things that would be in the inland port. One of the big problems we have, which you're probably aware, is just our Tooele County tax base is so lopsided towards the residential, and residents get taxed at 55% of their taxable value, and also the residents bring in kids that go to school. We use all of the, the county services and the emergency services and all of the infrastructure. We're using that. Whereas the businesses, they're taxed at 100% of their taxable value, and they're not bringing in more kids for the schools.
And they also, and it's also, businesses feed smaller businesses, and they also feed residential areas and
employment. Yeah.
Whereas if people drive around the point of the mountain, they're going to get 50% of their gas over there. If they're going to pop in for lunch, they're going to pop in for lunch.
Tax.
And so I'm a big proponent of industry, and I'm not anti-growth on this side. A lot of people,
but it has to be done well. That's the whole problem.
Everyone says that. I don't even know what that means. I would like.
Well, it just can't be lopsided towards residences. That's the big thing.
That's it. Back in I remember when I was a kid, when the Army Depot had its first main closure, and it made this county a ghost town. It was wild. The Army Depot was huge, and it emptied out this county. It killed a lot of businesses. It killed, and then a lot of people left. And now it's built back up again. So I'd like to see, and all I can go off of is what I see out there. I'm not a intelligent person. I'm just
involved, though.
A little bit observant.
Yeah.
And so, if we can make it so that our schools are a selling point for businesses to want to come out here, I think we'll win.
That is huge. And what you just said, a lot of people don't realize what you said, that there will be big companies that are looking to relocate, but
Mhm.
then they've also got, hopefully they're going to employ our Tooele County people, but they've also got a core of people that they've got to bring out to Tooele County. So then they look at like school report cards and how things are going. And sometimes they may be, I don't know that this is really the place for us to relocate. Or the hope is they'll be like, hey, they've got all their stuff together. Our employees are going to love it out there. And we need to keep that in mind, that that's changing our entire economic landscape by how well we're doing.
Yes, and a positive outlook for the
Mhm.
adults will breed a positive outlook for their children, and their
Right.
children will have better performance in school, because that makes everything.
Yeah.
Everything's holistic. You have to look
Yes.
at it as everything
Not in a
bleeds
vacuum.
to
Yeah.
everything else. But I do have a couple of comments, if you don't mind.
Sure.
People are talking about you and asking a few questions.
Sure.
Not really a lot, but so one comment was for me, like the shaking babies and
Yeah.
kissing hands thing. But he also says, I like the way Emily talks about her vocation working with kids. She loves what she does, and that is valuable. Yes, it is. And then Jordan asks, what is Emily running for? And she's running. She's an incumbent. She's running to
Yeah.
Tooele County School Board.
District 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So District 5, and you're the first incumbent we've had willing to come on.
I'm willing to talk to anybody. People making these comments, send me emails and talk. You want a cottage meeting at your house? We'll do it. And it's not for my candidacy necessarily. I'll tell you, this has been kind of tricky, and you might have some input that you could tell me. That we individually on the school board, each one of us is just 1 out of 7. And so there's always a danger when we go out and start talking that we could say something that doesn't represent the entire board, doesn't represent Tooele County School District, because I'm just me. I'm just Emily Syphus talking. And I could easily, if I have my Facebook page, which I try to put things on that are links to other things, because we've been so scrutinized. You have like reporters from KSL or Fox News or whatever that could look on there and say, well, Emily Syphus from Tooele County School District says that this is the way it is. And then suddenly everyone's in trouble because I put out my opinion that is not everyone's opinion. And so we've been trained from like the Utah School Board Association to make sure and not put out statements that are that are looking to be representative of the whole school district. So what I've been doing since I've been on there is I try to push in the district to say, let's get this on our website. Let's give us something that we can link. Like, if Jared comes to me and he says, what's the deal? I can explain it, but then I can also say like, here's a link and you can use this and show your neighbors. And that's what I've always wanted to happen, is to make sure that good information is out there. But then when it comes to being a candidate, that's a different thing, because it's obvious I'm not speaking as the entire school board. And I can say my disclaimer, okay, this is my opinion, these are my goals. I got to convince 6 other people to do it too.
I think the way you comported yourself tonight was outstanding, where you just came with direct information.
Yeah.
Where
Come
you
to me.
said, here's the cost savings they had at that big school. Here's what they did that may on the outside look like it was an overrun, but realistically, this is what it did to save cost.
Mm-hmm.
And by you doing stuff like that, I think if you stick with that, now granted, I don't know what the school board meetings are like, if there's public Q&A times.
So it's not Q&A. So we have 2 meetings a month. Well, always one meeting a month and sometimes two. There's the public business session, and that is the formal meeting where we're in the boardroom and we have action items and we vote and make decisions on policy and budget. And then we'll also discuss a few other things. That we discuss a student achievement item every single month. Superintendent has a report every other month. Business administrator has a report every other month. I do want to say, you might be interested to know, your viewers might be interested to know, we just hired a new business administrator. I'm really excited, all the thanks to our old business administrator and everything he did for us through a tough time. But I really think it's going to be exciting to have a new brain look at the problem. And that's something that's happened within the last month. So we're just now able to say that that's headed in a new direction, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I think I might have kind of gone. The school board meeting. So anyway, I went off on a tangent there,
No,
but I
you're
thought you
good.
needed to know that. So we have our public meeting, and by law, this is not a choice of any of us. The law in the state of Utah for public meetings is that we have to have an agenda and we have to stick to that agenda. And so we have public comment. So if you would like to come and do public comment, then you come before the meeting starts. When the meeting starts, it's too late to sign up, but you go before the meeting starts. So there's our secretary, Jackie Gallegos, that'll be up there, and you just sign up. And then when it's public comment, you have 3 minutes to get up and say anything you want to say. But also you can submit comments ahead of time via email. And then if you submit them to the official comment line, then that will be linked on the minutes. So anybody who wants to read the minutes can see your comment.
Is there, look, I, as much fun as it would be to go
to a school board meeting
and just berate people, if I'm going to put the energy forward to make a public comment that's going to be read in minutes, I would want to know that because I would be asking a question or I would be making a suggestion. Is there any space where those questions are answered or those suggestions are responded to? How's that done?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of ways. For the whole scenario we just talked about, public comment, we're not allowed to respond in the moment as a board because usually whatever you said is not on the agenda. However, if you talk about an agenda item and then later we're talking about that, it just happened the other day, actually, last month. So there's this new time and attendance policy, and the head of the Classified Employees Association came and gave a list of questions she had about the policy, and that was on our agenda. So I just wrote every single thing she said as fast as I could verbatim. And then when it got to that section, we point by point talked about all the things that she had brought up. But if you bring up something that's not on the agenda, we will not be able to address it that night. But we have a procedure. This is not policy, it's procedure. But we want to make sure that everybody that comes feels like whatever they came to talk about was listened to. I personally, and I know a lot of my fellow board members do this, I write down everybody's name. I write down key things of what they said. I follow up later by asking people, what about this and what about that? Even at the Truth and Taxation hearing, 3 hours of people talking, I could show you my stack this big, every single person, their name, main concerns, any questions I have about the things that they said. So it all gets taken in. But the new procedure is that you come to the public comment, say something that's not on the agenda. As you leave, somebody from the district administration is going to come up to you and discuss it with you. So that's not
if it's something workable. If they just get up,
they'll discuss it with you even if it's not workable.
Message you funny. Is someone going to waste their time by coming and saying, "Please explain to me how their mom dresses them funny"? Would you, because I'm sure that happens. A lot of people.
I've only been on the board 3 years. I haven't had anybody that came that talked about something that absolutely had nothing to do with schools. So.
Okay, well then that's
or whatever that's worth. but yeah, but if you have a question and you're like, I don't have time to go to a school board meeting, that's the night that I always do my XYZ. Like it's I do my podcast or my kids thing or whatever. You email us. And so if you would like it to reach the full board, the superintendent, I think director of policy, and the board secretary, then you email policy@tooeleschools.org. You can write that down, remember it, but also it's on the website. So if you just go to the website and you click Board of Education, it says like email the Board of Education, and you just click on that. So if you email that, you will get a response, usually from the subject area expert. So it'll be, oh, well, this is about Grantsville High. So it's going to be the area director of Grantsville that will do that. Or this is about school lunch. So our child nutrition director will answer. So, but if it's just about general board policy, then our school board president will email you back unless she assigns someone else to do it. Like she feels like, for instance, I will sometimes reply. I sit on the policy committee. There's 3 of us that's on the policy committee where we just kind of give it that first read through and feedback so that it's a better product and it's been through some more brains before it comes to the full board.
You go
Anyway.
in with red pen and do the old sister thing.
I have actually, literally, I have. Actually, I did it with orange, and I was like, "Oh, this is a run-on sentence." No, but we just put together actually a lot of protocols using AI, but also with human checks. Yeah,
I am telling you, if you're an editor, I would hate to have that job right now.
But it's run it. So we have this closed AI system, LM notebook, and it's got the entire state code, all of the Utah State Board of Education board rule, Tooele County School District policy, Tooele County School District, our style guide, which is new. Yay, style guide. It's new. So there's so many things that have happened that people wouldn't notice. Anyway, so it has all those things in the closed AI, and then somebody writes a policy and then they have to run it through those things. Like, does it contradict with the state law? Does it, do all these things? And so then AI says what it says. And then you have to take your human brain and look through it and make sure you whatever, and then run it through the AI again. So anyway, so yeah, that's how that process goes with the policy now. But if you have any questions, you will receive a reply from usually the subject area expert or our board president, Melissa Rich, unless she assigns it to people. And I'm on policy committee, and so she's assigned it to me a handful of times, and that's why I mentioned it. So hope you're excited about policy. So I know it's fascinating stuff.
Aren't we all? Yeah. Well, I want to just round this out.
Sure. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever questions I'm good with.
Jordan, that's where Holly's at. Holly, like I said in the beginning, she is at a Meet the Candidate because she's running for office. I just want to ask, where's District 5? Where does that cover?
It's interesting. Oh, man. So District 5 does kind of like this split. Instead of being like little areas carved out of each community. So it's like it's less than half of Stansbury Park as one Lake Point precinct, and then about less than half of Stansbury Park, and then it goes out and it has like half of Grantsville, the north half, but then there's a little jag that goes south of Main Street in Grantsville, and then it goes out to Wendover and Ibapaw. So it's very interesting, and I wasn't around when they drew those lines, but it does make it so whoever is in the District 5 seat has a lot of work to do. I mean,
that's a lot of coverage.
Yeah, a lot of coverage.
Does Wendover share anyone else, or Ibapaw?
No.
So Ibapaw has a school out there.
Yep. They have a necessarily existing small school. So Ibapaw is about an hour's drive from Wendover, and it's really, the roads are so potholes, and there's cows and sheep that get on the roads, and then
out there.
Yeah, and it's kind of bad in the winter. So kindergarten through 6th grade, they have their own school, but it also services the kids, not just in the Ipaw ranching community, but also the Go Shoot
The
reservation.
reservation out there, the
Yeah.
Confederation. Yeah.
So yeah, we go out
It's an
there.
interesting place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real interesting place out there.
It's
That's a lot of
fascinating.
coverage.
It is, and so, you look at it, there's 14 different schools where I have direct constituents, but of course, if you're on the school board, you're representing the entire county.
Yeah.
It's not just to me, I'm gonna take special interest to make sure I know what my constituents are doing and what's going on in their schools because, I'm elected to represent them, but once you're elected to the school board, and this is an absolute for everyone, you represent the entire county. But I can honestly say this is not filling you full of stuff. I really care about kids everywhere. There's really just everywhere and people, but when you look at Tooele County, that's my purview. I'm not.
Even those gingers, you really care about the gingers?
I have a ginger neighbor that helps me out all the time. So if I didn't before, now I do. But yeah, so we make decisions for that. But then in my seat, it's really difficult to make everyone feel like I spend a lot of time in their school, in their neighborhood
Well,
when
yeah.
there's 14 of them. And so I try every year to go to community council from each one. And if I were in one of the districts that have less schools, there's some of them, they're like 6 or 7, then I would be 2 or 3 times at their community councils. But it's not that
Well,
way, especially.
you've got to drive to Wendover.
Yes, I do that several times a year
and
in Ibapaw. Uh-huh. And so that's a big deal. I visit the schools and, it's interesting because usually you just visit the schools just to kind of get the lay of the land. But there is a lot of specific things I try to ask the principals when I'm there. What are the priorities of things that will change things for you? And, if it's money, we don't have money, but we can put it on a list of when will it rise to the top. But there's been a time I visited school and there was a really simple policy change that almost could have gone on consent items, but I said, no, we're not putting this under the rug. We want full transparency. We're going to discuss this as a full board and not put it on consent. But it helped their school, and I only knew about it because of the visit. But like I said, if somebody says, well, I have never seen her, well, I've been in 14 places. So
yeah.
plus trying not to ignore.
Is there any way you can set up set up video calls with the staff and the principal out there, but also
like in Wendover and Ipaw? Yeah, that's how they do their community councils.
Yeah, but maybe even I remember when I was a kid, they brought us out into the auditorium. Well, not the auditorium. I was in Grantsville Middle School, and they have little auditoriums for each grade.
Yeah, is that the way the junior high is now? That you can see that they filled it in, and they said it used to all be these dipping things. It's cracking, and you can tell where it used to be.
Had a little backboard there, and the AV person would wheel a TV out, and God forbid we watch the Challenger space shuttle launch out there. And blow up, and we're all just like, what was that? It was like 4th grade or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if it wouldn't be beneficial for you to introduce yourself to the kids like that and say, this is who I am. Maybe send a newsletter out so that day they take a newsletter home to their parents and say, I am the member of the school board that represents you. Here's my email address. If you have questions, please reach out. I introduced myself to your student today. So they have seen me and whatever else. Is that a possibility or is that a no?
I would worry about equitable access for all candidates to that. And also,
I mean, not as a candidate. I mean, when this
as a school board member. And you know what? I've thought of this, honestly. I after my last campaign, I had a lot of flyers left over, which I'm thinking, well, they all say the right information, but it says my kids are first to 11th grade, and that was 4 years ago. So now I have to reprint them. And I had thought, why don't I just go around the neighborhood and say, hey, I'm your new school board representative. Here's the information. And I'm already won this election, but you probably need to know how to contact me. But it was just this fire hose of information and things to do to get onboarded, and I never did that. But you saying this now makes me think that that is something I would definitely do. I don't want anybody to perceive that anything that I do is not for the good of the kids and of the community, but it's instead for some election. So if I get reelected, I absolutely think what you're saying is what I was thinking. So that must be something that would be really helpful, that I could go around, in December or January and say, hey, you might not have gotten a chance to know me through this whole election process. Maybe you did through the election, but maybe that's not something you're looking out for. But I'm here to talk, and I'm here to listen to your concerns. And being as if I were reelected, I wouldn't have that same fire hose situation that I did last time. And I would have the time to do that. And I think you are so right on.
I think all school board members need to do that. Just how many parents out there don't know who their school board member is?
Yeah, it's hard. It's interesting.
I would say the percentage is probably north of 70%.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Because it's one that you don't pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
It's
it's kind of hilarious. Even my neighbors, I mean, they know me, they know I'm on the school board, but I'll try to do like a little, before we take this to everybody in the county, what do you think about this? And so many really good people, really, really good people are so busy with all the things that they're doing with their families. They'll say, that's fine. I trust you. I just trust you. It's fine. And they don't want to get involved at the next level.
When you tell them the third time, they go, huh? You're on the school board?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like you said, the thing about the substitute thing, I'm fine. I'm not trying to hide from anyone I'm on the school board. Absolutely not. I want people to know who I am. So when they have problems and questions, that they come to me and they can feel better about things, or if there's something I'm not aware of,
maybe you guys need to wear members only jackets.
Yeah. But at the same time, how awkward is that to be walking in, and what would I do? Be like, oh, so by the way, I'm on the school board. That's just no.
Yeah. I do think it would be beneficial for the parents to know who the school board member is.
Absolutely. I agree.
They all know who the principal is. Mm-hmm. Probably, 4 out of 10 know who the superintendent is, their name. 1 out of 20 probably knows how to look them up and send an email.
Yeah. People feel a little helpless, I think, sometimes. And I get it. I really get it. And that's where all the involvement that I did beforehand. But here's the thing. I knew to be involved with PTA and with community council and with my kids' classrooms, all these things. I knew it because I was a teacher, and so I saw how that worked. But how many people even know what community council is? We all have so much drain our time. To choose that out of all the lists of things that you could do for your family or do for your community. There's so many things you can be doing for your neighbors and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not blaming anybody for not knowing about it. I knew about it because
it's also the workload of the modern world.
Yeah, exactly. So you get home from work at 6:30 and you're like,
there's not the hours worked have increased year over year for the last, since the 70s. I mean, there's a whole bunch of taxation, but
right.
That's the show right there, guys.
Sorry, I haven't take up all your time.
You're good. Everyone, Emily Syphus, it's Emily for Tooele Schools.com, right?
Yeah, that's the website. And
Emily
if you're
for
sending
Tooele Schools.
Same thing, Emily for Tooele Schools with the FOR. And that at gmail.com is how you could ask me a question. I thought we were going to talk about taxes this entire time, and we didn't. So if anybody wants to
All
know
your
about it,
notes are laid up there, and
yeah,
just look. I can.
I brought the audit.
We can go after the tax thing, and that would be this show more. This was you to introduce yourself to the people voting, and so that's why I wanted to push heavy on that.
Yeah, it's good.
And for them to get to know your personality. The tax thing is, it's not done haunting us.
No, it's not. Nope. But we'll talk about it another time. I know you've been on a long time, and I'm compromising your time, but
you're good. You're welcome on any
out.
time. Just reach out. It'd be good to have an insider on the school board to tell us, hey, this is what's
Anytime.
going on, to get the message out. Hey, everyone, come down to the come down to the school board meeting. This is the subject we'll be talking about, so that people can get a hold of that stuff and get on it. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Emily Syphus, everyone. She's Tooele County School Board District 5 seat. And we hope to have her on again, and we wish her the best in the election, and with substitute teaching and all the stuff that she seems to be doing. Thank you very much, Emily.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jared. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. All right, everyone. That was Emily Syphus. Again, Holly's at a Meet the Candidates, but I just want to close the show out with a moment of silence for Chuck Norris. Shocking, really. He was in Hawaii on vacation or something. And, he was in his 80s, I think, and still, doing good. So, just so many movies that consumed my childhood that, man, I worked with one guy when I was out at the South area. One guy, he was a Walker Texas Ranger fanatic, and we watched it every day. That was his thing. Just always watched Walker Texas Ranger, and it was the cheesiest show. But man, sad to see him go. Everyone, thank you for joining us. That's next week. We have Sheriff Wimmer coming on 6:30 next Wednesday. We're excited to chat with him. Look forward to that. Holly should be here then. We're going to be moving. I've got to back away from the show a little more because I've been going to school now, and it's just time has become a precious commodity for me that I've got to back away from the show a little bit. So Holly's going to be taking over the production side of this. And so next week we're going to hopefully train Holly up. So you guys get ready to give her a hard time. William says he was a part of my childhood as well. My dad loved his movies, and obviously Walker, Texas Ranger. 100%. He was Chuck Norris. He was a real karate competitor too. Like a for real competitor, national competitor and a champion. Hate to see him go. Definitely. And when I see the news, the article written about him that they bad talked him because he was a conservative, man, have we gotten there? Mueller passed away. Mueller, is that his name? He passed away the other day, the guy who did the Russia collusion investigation. And then Donald Trump came out and said that. And I was just like, Donald Trump needs to learn that you can just say, rest in peace, regardless. But Chuck Norris was a real deal. Many a meme that kept my last 10 years going, come about Chuck Norris and the things he did. But thanks for joining us. We'll have Holly next week. Everyone, I hope you guys all have a good night. Hopefully the Facebook's still working well. It seemed to freeze up on some stuff there. But anyways, have a good night. Again, there was a meet and greet in Tooele. I hope everyone made it down there to meet the candidates, to meet up with Holly, throw her questions at her. Yeah, it's going to be a fun election time. And you guys